Hi there everyone, MViousCosplay here, and before we begin the show today, I just want to say thanks for tuning in to my channel, and if you want to support the show, feel free to go to my Ko-Fi link and donate there. With your donation, we will be able to improve the quality of the show with better audio, as well as better video capture, and even more things to come. Thanks everyone, and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone. It's Stephen Grant, not Mark Spector, and you're watching Moon Knight on Disney Plus. Da, 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 da.
Oh my god. um, the fact that the advertising for Moon Knight literally had him go over the arch thing and then the Disney Plus arch.
Like, it's clever. It's very clever.
And it's
But I'm
so
like,
reminiscent of like the early 2000s Disney Channel thing.
but it's just funny because part of me thinks like, I don't think this is totally a series I'd watch with children. This is a little
No.
too dark. This goes
Like,
straight into like a horror thing at times. Moon Knight's a super powered mummy. What it looks like, like
pretty
he's a
much.
mummy in a cave.
Yeah. Like
Like,
oh, I lost my train of thought. Mark Spector and Conchi are like inside his head going, "Oh my god." Just
oh,
completely embarrassed.
they keep dunking
Anyways,
on.
this
He's trying to
is
have a good day.
a new comic book TV show and movie chat. I'm back as your host, MViousCosplay, and with me is JonnoTheDead. Had to include your new rebranding. um,
Specifically, if you look closely, it's less.
oh,
It's
yeah,
more.
definitely.
It's more variety.
hmm So we're gonna be talking about a couple things. Moon Knight, especially because it's the new biggest hit series on Disney Plus, as well as Morbius. I had so many hopes for that movie. But
Another.
anyways, let's talk about Moon Knight first. The shining white knight mummy example of how to do a suspenseful horror under the Marvel Studios brand. So
How you do your word right, you know.
like
And still, still say I could watch it with a kid, but like if they're old enough, be like, all right, promise you're not gonna get scared, little Billy, like that kind of thing. Because there's some monsters in everything.
The series started last week. Episode 1, we're introduced to Stephen Grant, having some sleep disorder of sorts. Full disclosure, I don't know much about Moon Knight, so a lot of my information will be coming from the show. I know beforehand, though, with previous exposure to some of the Marvel animated series, like Ultimate Spider-Man, as well as the current one that happened about a couple years ago, Moon Knight was in it, and he did show signs of multiple personality disorder, or DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, which I do believe the DID is going to be more focused in the TV series on Disney Plus. Sorry, what was that?
They show him taking medication and everything and talking about, what he thinks might be a dream, but it's actually personalities and everything. So
right.
Gotcha. I think they do. I personally don't have DID, but I know friends with DID who are like, yeah, that's how they represent it pretty well. So Oscar's doing it.
So, and then later on in the first episode, we are introduced to Ethan Hawke. I'm not sure what character he's playing, but from what I understand, he is like a cult leader for the Egyptian goddess Amet. I don't recall which goddess she is of within the hierarchy of Egyptian mythology, but whatever she is, I think it's the opposite to Khonshu, which is the god of the moon, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Steven he's involved with a lot of stuff that he's pretty much unaware of. And then by the end of the episode, there's a jackal coming after him. And then trapped in the bathroom, but then you see Mark Spector in the mirror saying, "Give me control, I'll save us." And then final shot of the episode, we see Moon Knight in all his
Mummy-looking glory.
Yep, hood, cape, and mask, and awesome body armor, which
Mhm.
makes me sad because it's so perfect. While the DC side of things, we don't have Azrael, who has a cape and a hood. I mean,
There you go.
we kind of did in Gotham, but it was terrible. So bad. It looked nothing like him.
It was Azrael in name only kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
Azrael in name, but the Order of Saint Dumas was there, but the legitimate Azrael wasn't there. But going back to Moon Knight, he looks great. I saw the new episode today already. Not sure if you did, Jono.
I'm going to be looking at it soon. I'm very excited. I'm treating Moon Knight kind of like the old days of like having to wake up on Saturday morning with cereal and everything. But like in this case, it's I got to head home, got to get some lunch, and got to watch my Moon Knight and everything every Wednesday. Like that's how hyped this thing has gotten me. Because like Oscar does an amazing job voicing, because he's also the voice of that big like booming creature. The idiot's in charge. Like he's just a
Oh,
very
Frontier? No, it's not him. It's someone else
really.
actually.
Oh, okay. Well, either
Yeah,
way,
I
like
thought
he's
he
very
did.
good at. He's doing both of these like all these personalities, and he has a very very wide range. And I'm like, so I'm into him, and the whole thing behind Moon Knight, like the whole like Egyptian gods and everything, because what I like is they didn't try to do the thing what they did with Thor, where they try to make they're aliens who got mistaken for
Yeah.
gods. I'm like, no, I kind of was disappointed in that. I'm like, no, I like that this time. It's like, no, they're straight up magical gods, kind of thing. I'm like, good, don't take away the mystery, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And like,
like
Moon Knight is all steeped in mystery of what's going on, when and where, and everything. Like, I love the theories that are already coming out. Like the whole thing with the person on the phone may or may not be his mom, and like it could just be a number that he randomly calls, and
mhm.
like, man, Steven just hit in the first episode where he thinks he has a date, and he's like, "Oh, it's time to get some steak," and I'm like, "Oh, buddy, it's not steak time," like he just Steven just wants a normal, easy life, and the other two are not allowing that.
Yeah.
So it's relatable. There's also a part in there that's weirdly relatable is when everything is crashing down around him in his head, and he goes to that security guard because Ethan Hawke is coming to get him, and
Mhm.
you can see that he's technically having a meltdown, and his boss is all like, "Oh, you're still on inventory," and I'm like, and you're telling him he's still got to work. I'm like,
Mhm.
Moon Knight is the hero for the millennials. Now, like
And he's also a
sad but
weeb
true.
apparently.
Yeah, he's a total weeb with like, you know, Avatar, the anime and everything. I'm like,
Oh
never
yeah,
thought
it's
I'd
like
hear Oscar Isaac say the word anime. Here I
yeah.
am.
And then oh my
Yeah,
god, the
the
fact that he
series is great.
referenced
It's like a lot.
James Cameron's Avatar.
Blue people, Smurfs. I love that movie. But I
Yeah.
love in that scene, you can tell he's not trying to be sassy or funny like a Marvel joke. He
Like
looks
he's trying
genuinely
to
scared.
deflect what's
He's
happening.
trying to deflect and he's trying to, yeah, because Steven doesn't look to be a character that has quips and jokes. He's at Mark, maybe. Mark is the action hero, Mark's the mercenary. Maybe him. But Steven, he's a very soft man, he's a very nervous guy. He's
Mhm.
not he's not here for the violence. Just
Yeah.
he just wants some steak with his not girlfriend now.
Mhm. And speaking of Ethan Hawke, oh my
Mm.
gosh, guy's playing a cult leader. He's playing Jared Leto in real life. Oh no.
Real Jared, especially in that robe and everything and all that. Like first I was like, oh my god, it's Ethan Hawke, and then like a lot of the personality, and I'm like coming off very Leto-y. And speaking of Leto, what we're here for. Like,
Yeah. Um,
oh,
this movie
I don't want
more.
to say it was a more BS.
Oh God.
I need to get that one out, but I never seen a Marvel movie divide, not even divide, but just like crash so hard. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
it's gonna ruin the company. That's Marvel doing great, like. But
Yeah,
oh,
Sony, they had this movie and it could had set up an actual connecting bridge from their stuff to the MCU.
mhm.
But I do believe the fact that whatever meetings happening behind the scenes with Kevin Feige and whoever was in charge at Sony just did not click, as well as the big, huge 2 year delay because of the Rona and everything, as well as reshuffling with whatever reshoots that were done. I think this movie had 2 rounds of reshoots before they came up with the final product. And yesterday, I rewatched the second trailer, the one that had People Are Strange by the Doors. That seemed like a more complete movie than the final cut.
Yeah, the one with the Fur Elise from Beethoven. It's like
No, not that
that.
one. That was the first one.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, like that's the first one, which I thought. Like, I will admit, the first trailer did get me excited because I did
Me too.
remember years ago I read rumblings about the Morbius movie. Like there was talk of it and everything, and obviously it was going to be like a Halloween release. They didn't have an actor yet, but of course back then it was 2000, so everyone assumed Johnny Depp, because
Sorry, you were cutting
goth
off
icon.
there for a second.
But shit, you good?
Yeah, you
But so I
cut off.
remember. So what I said was I do remember the rumblings of the Morbius movie for
Mhm.
years and everything, and like, and I remember they scrapped it until like this MCU thing happened, and I remember, like you said, it was gonna bridge everything together, and it also was gonna be a good way for the Marvel guys to do more horror related content, and more like monster movies and everything. But then, like, as the movie kind of showed, it seemed like it was kind of going in between this is a monster movie and also a superhero movie. Like it kind of was trying to find the middle of the happy medium, and it it tried, like it really
Yeah, I
tried.
tried. Like
Um,
the
Jared's good
disease
in it.
that Michael
Right.
Morbius has, they never disclose what it is. They just kept saying the disease.
You got the disease, Michael. Turns
Yeah,
out, what?
and I'm like,
MCU version of
um,
like chickenpox. He's got like such a normal. He has like a normal thing. Like, oh,
and the whole thing with the blue blood, like, okay,
yeah.
so Morbius made the blue blood to help other people with his condition as well as other medical conditions, but it's like they didn't really explain how he made it.
They say bats were involved, and I'm like, bats don't have blue blood. Like, I
No,
didn't want to
like
be a
um,
science guy. Like,
I
like
I think like when he was about to accept the Nobel Prize, like they said something about, oh yes, with his creation of blue blood, blue synthetic
mm,
blood, it's able to help tons of people with various medical conditions, but they never disclosed like how that started. I think the whole tampering with the bat DNA wasn't until he went to Costa Rica, was it? With the bat cave was?
yeah, because the Costa Rican bats were the key and everything to the blue
Yeah.
blood. And I mean, I'll say this: like when it comes to like the semantics of like how all this, like I clearly love my horror, and certain questions don't need to be totally answered, and I was gonna be okay with that if like the movie was just like how Venom was, just a cheesy, fun, goofy time of violence, and it seemed like it was trying to be. It seemed like it was trying to do what Venom did of like the over the top. Because Jared can go crazy funny and get crazy weird with a vampire role, but there was just something felt like it was holding him back and everything.
I don't think they
And
wanted him to be
also with Matt Smith,
over the
he was
top.
fun. I will. Matt Smith was very
What? Matt Smith,
yeah,
what you cut off?
and oh yeah, but like Matt Smith is fun. I'll admit he was very fun in that role. And I'm not even a big Doctor Who fan, but I'm like, all right, I can see him in more things, except there's that one scene that you were messaging me that's like, yeah, it's pretty cringe, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Like
stays in my head.
like I was okay with Leto not being over the top with this role because it's like, yeah, Michael Morbius was never portrayed as someone as a outgoing type of character. He was more on the more serious side
So
of things. So I was okay with his performance in general compared to freaking 2016 with Joker. But
Oh, God.
with
Like
Matt
that's the
Smith,
thing. He went two different directions.
mhm. But with Matt Smith, I was okay with his acting prior to getting transformed into a pseudo vampire. Um, I'm not sure what even Matt Smith's character name was, like besides Milo. Like, what was his villain name?
His villain name. So the villain he was supposed to be was he was going to be this character called Hunger, who was like
Okay.
a vampire, so the symbiote, which would have been cool to bridge the whole Venom thing, you know. But I guess they just dropped it. And like you said, there was probably like decisions that were made, and probably studio was like, you can't reference Venom, you know, kind of thing. Even though
But
like
they did
the
anyway.
character, they did anyway, and like it goes back and forth that way, and like I think the thing about the Morbius movie is the bigger thing around it is less the movie and like the memes and the audience, everything around it. Like I will admit, it's getting way more hate than I think it ever deserved. You know, because I'm like,
Yeah, like I
all right,
went in
it's
hating. I went
good,
in
but
expecting to hate the movie.
hmm,
I ended up
I
actually thinking it was okay.
yeah, it was. That's it. It's all the kinds of okay, you know, like if I just want to turn my brain off for a little bit and just watch some craziness go down, then I'll probably watch Venom. But like with Morbius, it's like, all right, I guess if it's on, I'll watch it, you know, like.
I
But
do give Morbius this though. The pacing was a bit better compared to Venom 1
oh yeah,
because like the amount of time it takes for
some com-
Eddie Brock to become
there's some
Venom and then he fights all those SWAT team guys, that's like almost an hour into the movie.
yeah, it is like an hour before you see full on like Venomized Eddie,
Exactly.
you
But
know.
with Morbius, it's like, oh, 20 minutes in, you get the transformation, and then you get like the first action scene of him hunting those mercenaries down in the boat.
I like that because like it's become a thing with superhero movies to always like just wait hours, almost an hour into seeing the full suit. It's just like how superhero shows wait like you gotta wait like 10 episodes in before he stops calling himself the Blur and starts actually
Oh,
going by his actual name and everything.
yeah, like
But like at least with Morbius, they just have him like he's a vampire now. You know, like
mhm. Yeah, and
like
it's like it's nothing too flashy of a transformation. Like, yeah,
and
he
nothing
starts
like
convulsing, but then all of a sudden he's gone. But
yeah.
he's on
They also don't have
the roof.
flashy costume, it's just a coat. Okay?
Mhm.
Like I like the coat look. I will say that. That's a positive I'll give it. They because
Mhm.
the old Morbius hasn't had much of a costume update in years. It's still the leotard with the bat
Exactly, it's
wings and
still
all.
this.
Yeah,
Like,
it's still
I
exactly
do
that.
wish
It's
though the collar
working.
on him what had actual color though, like the red or the purple, because you see inside the lining of the coat, it's that purplish look, but at least give the
Mhm.
collar the same lining as well,
I,
not just black.
I I would have loved the collar to be red. That's the only thing I was thinking. Like, because it'd be a fun translation. But other than that, like, I don't know. Just I think people are throwing way too much hate on the movie than it really needs to. Because, like I said, it's not. I obviously went in not expecting an MCU level like big
Mhm.
good movie. I got what I expected, kind of thing. Like, I got a cheesy kind of like vampire movie. That's what it felt like it was gonna go that route anyway, and like I don't know, like I said, I think that I like that at least it sets up the more villain movies and like more horror related. Because like I think the main thing is I just wanted this to be a Halloween release, also. Like
Right.
it, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like going around that time because Venom did the Halloween stuff, and
Yeah.
Morbius continue that. Like, but I guess we'll deal with it. And like I don't know, it's not as terrible as everyone seems to give it. I give it like a C, maybe a
Me
strong
too.
C plus. Yeah,
C
like a middle
plus.
of the a C plus. Like middle of the road. Like it's and then, like I said, it's not like Marvel hasn't pushed out bad movies even in the MCU. Does anyone
Or the
really
dark world.
want to? Like, does anyone really want to watch Age of Ultron? No.
No.
Like, exactly,
Like
exactly. Like it's
I would rather watch Morbius again and again compared to watching Thor 2,
okay.
Age of Ultron, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
like the thing with also like those movies is like they're there and they're middle of the road, but does anyone really remember them? I can't even tell you the villain from Thor 2. It's some
Another
guy.
one of the doctors.
Right, just another doctor, just another one of the guys. And like I kind of wish they gave Matt Smith's character like a villain name, you know, or like he
Or
could
at
have
least
said
name drop
like,
it, like in his lines.
yeah, name hungry or something, you know, like something over the top that they were going, you know, that he could have worked in.
Or maybe like just give it like something like a subdued line. It's like, um,
He
like that
hungers.
scene when Leto's telling him, "No, you can't have it. You'll have an insatiable hunger for blood."
Yeah.
And,
Oh my God, it also would have tonally fit well,
mhm.
you
Like,
know? It
especially
was
because the
so
fact that he's legit giving him clinical advice, and this is not the right thing.
yeah.
Like,
I will say, character naming wise, it kind of reminded me of like writing edgy fan fiction because like, you know, you have Michael Morbius and here's Milo Morbius, his brother, kind of thing. I feel like it felt like a fan character, you know, like, and I don't hate that. It felt like it fit in there and everything, but I don't know. It's a silly movie. Like people, I don't know. People are acting like it's a huge offense and everything. I'm like, all right, ease up, you know,
how do you have that much
Marvel,
negative
Marvel.
energy?
It's also like I noticed a lot of Marvel stands, anything that's so like remember when Venom came out? Like everyone was like, "This is the worst Marvel movie. This is why we should sell it over to." I'm like, no, just calm down. Like Marvel stands sometimes they hate anything that any other company makes with the characters in it. You know, like if it's
I
not
could
connected
say
to
the
the
same
MCU,
thing over on the DC as well.
we can probably transition to that. But like, because the Batman came out, and so many people
Mhm.
are comparing this to the Batman. Like,
I
that's a
think it's primarily because did you catch the
that's
music notes of the Batman Begins theme?
yeah. Are similar that there's their gothic horror and there's gonna be similar because people are comparing it like so much like, oh, this movie so wanted to be the Batman, and I'm like, I don't
Not
think it did.
really
Kind of thing.
going for
Like,
that.
yeah, exactly. I don't, but I don't know. People are so pushing it like, yeah, this is just the Batman, and like that's why I didn't want. I mean, I don't I liked the Batman, but like I kind of knew. Remember how like toxic Batman stands can be? Anything superhero related comes out, it's just like the Batman, you know? I'm like,
Yeah,
it's not, you know? It's
like
really
you
not,
can't
you know?
really compare something like, example, the Batman to
Mhm.
uh 89. You can't.
Yeah,
It's
but they
totally
will.
different
Like,
style. Like
they so will. You know,
like
like
it
everything about the Batman right now is just it's this is the best movie that's ever been made. I'm like, no.
kind of is.
Like it's good. It's very good. But I mean, like, it's very good. I'll say that. You know, like it
Like
was weird that
going back
Riddler was.
to Morbius, I do give some things some praise in this movie. Um,
Hmm.
like Leto experimenting pretty much on himself as he's trying to figure out what he can do, locking away in his lab and
Mhm.
testing the limits that like, oh yeah, I need to time myself before the craving for red human
Yeah.
blood kicks in. Okay,
Mhm.
that was cool. I dig that. Um, and then the whole echolocation, I love
That
the
was
special effects for that.
okay. Yeah, that was. You know, I feel like this is gonna be one of those movies. Like, yeah, audience critically wise, like it does lower, but hopefully Academy wise, they recognize the VFX work. Because I'm sorry, the VFX work and the makeup work, I have to give props to that. You know, like because I saw like apparently Michael or Jared Leto's like vampire look was
Mm.
like prosthetics and makeup and everything. It wasn't like they just CGI'd ugly onto
I
him. You
think
know.
it's a mix of both.
Well, with the gray to gray it up, they did the CGI, but like with the cheekbones and the
Oh yeah,
nose and everything, yeah, because Jared goes for makeup and everything, and like that's what I think and I think that's what I don't like when people say like something's the worst thing ever, and I'm like, no, as someone who's gone into filmmaking and like has studied film, it's like no, there's so much that goes into filming. Nothing is ever the worst thing. Like there's some hard work that goes into this, and I think on Morbius's end, some of those artists deserve some credit, for what they did with Jared and everything. Like, they did a good job. Like that's what
Yeah,
if VFX wise, like you can. I'm sorry, this movie can like really go into like you can like totally pick this apart for like edits and like put it into fun, creepy Halloween edits and everything. Like I think it was cool that way. Like I
you
don't know.
can
I
tell
don't
that
know.
the budget went mostly to Morbius's visual effects compared to Matt Smith's.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
I
man,
I remember what
speaking
they were
of
doing with that there. Like
speaking of Matt Smith, whenever he would dance around, I'm like, this looks so bad.
I'm into cheese, I'm into silly, but it's like all right, there's a limit, and this kind of crossed that limit. Like
Yeah, like
really went for
when he was fighting Morbius in the subway station, when he's like after he gets rid of the cops there, he starts doing his little dance thing with full vampire face. That was just
like some
cringe.
evil Peter level dance of do 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 do.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm like,
remember this,
you're fighting for your life here, sir.
his like Matt Smith, Hunger, his outfit is an awesome looking three-piece suit, and he's
That
wearing
was,
ugly sneakers. They're like a decade old. I'm
I,
like, dude, what are you doing?
Michael's like, I have one question for you. What are
What are
those?
those? But yeah,
But like, I hope someone cosplays Matt Smith from fucking
I
Morbius.
I hope not, because when I
I mean,
do the Leto look of Morbius, if I see
yeah.
someone cosplaying Matt Smith's Hunger, I'm gonna be like, stay away from me. I'm not affiliated with you.
You were not associated with me. And
Exactly.
you know what? I will say, the one thing I liked about this thing is like, you hardly ever see biological vampirism done. Most of the time in
That's the
movies, it's
problem. That's a
yeah,
problem I had with
that's
this movie.
yeah. Go on. Yeah, we can talk about that. I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. Okay,
Go first.
so he has that whole entire like refrigerator full of blood in his cytology lab at Horizon Labs, right? There's the
Mm-hmm.
blue blood bags, there's the
Mm-hmm.
red blood bags. He only took the red blood once or twice after the transformation
Yeah.
scene. So
Mm-hmm.
it was when Milo found him and he inscribed on the window blood. Okay.
Yeah.
And then no, wait, sorry. Let me go back. He took it 3 times. So when Milo found him in the lab, when Milo helped him out
Yeah.
to get out of the jail because he drank the
Mm-hmm.
red blood bag.
Yeah.
And finally, when he drinks the blood of Dr. Martine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 3 times only. But I think it's because it's one of those weird uh, American film rating stuff. It's like you can only have this amount of human red blood a few times. Otherwise, it'll
Unless
get
you're
rated R. So what
exactly.
Sony and Marvel Entertainment, to compromise that, they did primarily the blue blood, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I that was ah like I do like the whole he's disgusted by the vampirism after he comes to
Yeah.
after his first transformation when he sees the security footage. And with him being a doctor, that just completely you see him, he vomits and stuff. So the fact that, oh shoot, I drank all these people's blood, blah.
But like, I mean, and it also works because in most vampire stories, there is the struggle to retain humanity, which
Yeah,
they kind of do with this. Like went over his like wants to stay human and not drink people's blood and everything. And I know that's why in the cartoon when Morbius showed up, like he mostly did like the plasma touch thing, which
yeah.
I think I think they kind of reference in this that he could do, but like they didn't go
I
full
don't
force with it and
I don't
everything.
think they did.
Like they have him just high five a guy, hey man.
But I did find out that the writers of this movie were the same ones that did Dracula Untold. And beat for beat, when he was about to drink the blood of Dr. Martine, it was the same thing as
Yeah.
Vlad before drinking the blood
Mm-hmm.
of Nina. I'm like,
Yeah, which
okay, I see the
is like,
parallels. And to another thing that I noticed was the whole control of bats part.
yeah,
Because
I
in
love
Jack
that.
Told, he could do that. In Morbius, he can do that.
That I do like that they did it because I know in the cartoons and comics, Morbius was never. He never did the bats. Were never like he
Yeah,
just looked like he never had control of them. I liked that addition. Like the addition of Echo, like more bat-like qualities was cool. And yeah, it went parallel to Dracula, which I know this movie is getting a lot of comparisons to, but I'm like, well, duh, the character itself is. I'm like it's
yeah,
funny. Like when people point out references, like it's so like they're it's just like in Dracula. I'm like, yeah, he's a vampire. I'm like, duh.
like
But like, yeah,
I
and
really,
I
I
hope
did
they keep the
like
bat.
the effect of when he was about to summon the bats. Like he lets out a huge screech
Yeah.
that calls all of them in. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was cool.
Yeah, I kind of do. As much as yeah, the movie has problems with it, like as any movie does. I really hope that aspect they carry on into the comics. Like, I hope someone's watching the movie and yeah, there's problems there, but they're like, you know what? The bat thing is cool. I want
Mhm,
because Morbius is mostly in the comics just like plasma touch and
mhm.
fly
I don't
away.
think they do that at all anymore.
Like,
I think they only had the plasma
oh yeah,
thing for the cartoon.
yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
that carries on in. Like, there's a thing where he does it in Marvel Zombies, but like, I kind of do hope they do add some things from this movie. Like they're probably not going to make him look like Jared Leto because, like, I noticed they only make their characters look like the actor when the movie like just popped off like
Mhm.
crazy and everything. But this movie added things that I think the character was in need of. To
Like a
really like
costume
hammer home the
change.
vampirism. Yeah, like like a costume change because my God, it's been
Like
30 years, Michael.
like if I met Morbius in the comics, I'm like, dude, you started in the 70s. Come on, man.
All right, that's very cute. Please put on the just dress goth, like do the just embrace it. Like at least
Oh,
a black trench coat
whose
over would be
outfit
cool.
looks worse? Disco Wing or Morbius?
Hmm.
Because they both had high collars and
That's a
exposed chests that with their uh outfit going all the way basically to
some
their belly.
like at least didn't they acknowledge? All right, this looks a little weird. It gave him the sleek look,
Mhm.
Like if Morbius had that now, like a sleeker look, like maybe even a leather jacket over the whole thing, that'd be cool.
Just
But
just give him
I'm
back
kind
his
of glad
outfit from the Midnight Suns comic run.
that was a good one. And like I think that's what this movie kind of like had a kind of reference to. Like that whole look was kind of more Midnight Sunny. Like I think the one thing though I wanted to see in this movie, and I don't think it showed up, was a reference to Blade. Because I
Oh, you
remember in
know
the
for
old
a fact
Blade
that
movie,
Marvel Studios told them no.
no, but like I remember because in the old Blade movies, like Morbius was supposed to show up. There was supposed to be a lot of references to Morbius. And like so I thought like, oh cool. Like in this new movie, maybe we're gonna finally get Blade in there, and that's gonna be cool. Like I don't know, that'd be fun, but no, they didn't do that. And like I guess it's all right, I guess I can give or take with it. But like I don't know, just I wanted me some Blade action. It'd be finally to like see that finally come to fruition. So that's why I kind
Yeah.
of hope that like so I got a package. Like that's why I hope that in the like new Blade movie that's coming out, I kind of hope with that bridging of the MCU, they bring in Morbius
Mhm.
to MCU because like
Oh,
Blade
speaking
and Morbius.
of the MCU,
Oh yeah,
the
so that whole thing.
confusing post and mid credit scene. So, for those of you who did not watch the movie, well, you know what? A lot of people are not watching the movie anyway, so I'm gonna spoil it here. Um, so
Spoiler, you
once the
don't
credits
see it.
roll, you see in the sky the big purple thing breaking, like in Spider-Man: No Way Home, from the Doctor
Yeah,
Strange.
the portal.
Yeah, that somehow transports Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes, who was already in the MCU prior to No Way Home, into
Yeah.
the Venom verse, apparently.
villain verse and everything, as they're calling
Yeah,
it.
because it it I thought it's cool, but it just doesn't make sense because
It's
in No Way
like,
Home, the villains from other movies and universes come into this movie, and I mean into the MCU. Michael
mhm,
Keaton, Vulture, was already there in the MCU,
yeah,
and then he's transported to Venom's universe, Morbius's
mhm.
universe, or whatever. And but okay, suspension of disbelief. It's magic. There is no logic.
Good movie. Like it's a
Sorry. What?
comic book.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
comic book
definitely.
movie. Like
Hmm.
comics are weird,
So
but like he just shows up. Hey Doc, what's up? I think he says "What's up, Doc?" Like a Bugs Bunny thing.
I
Like
think he did. Like
yeah,
and then so apparently Vulture gives Morbius these coordinates to meet him in the middle of the desert or something, or a field. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm still getting used to this place. I think it's Spider Man's fault. Firstly, Morbius probably wouldn't know who Spider Man is. I mean, he
yeah.
knows who Venom is because he references Venom.
Mm.
And two, he says, we should team up with some guys and do some good. Good meaning
The
bad.
team is good. Yeah, good on
Against
there,
who?
good for them, and bad for everybody else.
Yeah. And at this point for
Because
Morbius, we don't know how much time has passed since the end of the movie. Maybe he actually succumbed to taking the red blood, so that's why he
yeah,
easily joins up with the Vulture. Who knows?
full on vampire and everything.
Yeah. Oh, so you said full on vampire. I kind of did like that little joke in the diner where he's with Dr. Martine. She's a because the coffee cup was in the sunlight, and he's like, ah, no, I'm kidding. I'm not that kind of vampire.
I mean, that was a good. See, like, there's parts to it I like that he acknowledges it can be funny, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like, it wasn't a drab the whole time, but like, I don't know, like, it's because also it would make sense. He's a biological vampire. He's not a mystical cursed vampire.
Mhm. Like, oh, so the supporting cast, we talked about Matt Smith. He was good in the halfway point, but then once he became Hunger, it I thought it was bad.
Vampire.
Dr. Martine, I don't know
Yeah.
about her, so I can't really judge the portrayal of the character. The two detectives, Tyrese Gibson and his
Mhm.
friend, there was for sure a lot of their stuff cut from this movie. Um,
Yeah.
because in the second trailer, uh, it sounds like they were cornering Morbius, and that the line he says in the trailer is, "You save lives, you don't take them."
Mhm.
There was something going on with a fight scene or something like that.
Yeah.
So
There
sadly,
there was a
that got
lot.
cut.
There was a lot that was cut, and I kind of hope they have that thing of like releasing a director's like how like when Daredevil years ago got released and everyone hated it. I
Hmm.
kind of hope it gets that of like getting a director's cut that is vastly superior, of like
Yeah,
here's everything that was cut, and here's like if there's a less cringy performance, the
like
like a Snyder versus Morbius.
remember Days of Future Past the road cut?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's have that.
yeah. Or
Don't
like
do
Snyder.
Suicide Squad the extended cut again because it's like, yeah, sure, you extended the movie, but Leto was barely even in it still.
Right? Like, I know they extended it. It's like, great. Now it sucks in longer form, like kind of thing. Like, now it sucks even more. It's like, that's how I felt about that. But like, I hope they bring in things that are actually good in this movie, and hopefully, like, there's a resurgence. I don't know, maybe call it like the director's cut, director's
Yeah,
dish, or
just give it out a
something.
director's cut because like um Spider-Man, the original second and third movie, Spider-Man 2.1, Spider-Man 3.1, or what it was called, the editor's cut. So
Yeah.
just do something like that, Sony. Release the more completed version of Morbius. Maybe, just maybe, it'll make people and critics like it somewhat more. Uh,
Because I remember, I read that the director is going through like a lot of self hate with this and everything. Like, there's so, and I'm like, man, like that's some tough times. It's just, and that's the harsh thing about making a movie for fandoms is like, like the fandom is very unforgiving when it comes to things. Like you mess
Star Wars.
like like anytime you mess up or make a bad thing, they don't let you live it down. You can like leave that genre, make something else. Like, oh yeah, you still made this. I'm like, all right, man, just this movie's gonna hang over this director's head, poor guy, unless
Like,
they come out with a better.
but hey, it made enough movie to guarantee a sequel.
I will say that's the thing. I kind of knew it was gonna have a big box office opening, and I knew it was gonna do well not critically, at least financially. So
Financially, yeah.
hopefully it's that kind of thing. Like hopefully they're like, all right, we did good we did good here. Let's make another thing. Learn from our mistake of how we did and do it better, kind of thing.
Hmm. Well, hopefully
Put
they
it out,
learn.
hopefully put
Hopefully.
it out on Halloween because like I feel if it came around the Halloween time, the horror heads and the goth folk like me who just love a cheesy good time totally would have dug this movie up. Like
Hmm.
people would have just flocked to it in like vampire looks like this and just been like, all right, it's a spooky fun time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll just give it an R rating. I don't know. I get that they're Marvel movies, but they were able to get away with an R rating with Blade and Deadpool. Just that's what I think with the new. If there is a new Venom, just give it an R rating. Like hard R. They said fuck. Like they said the F word anyway.
Mhm.
You
Oh,
can
I
do that.
decided to unblur my background because Morbius poster. It's small compared to where my camera is at, but yeah. And the first appearance of Morbius is right below it.
Nice. Like that's the thing is also it's not like. And I think what I hate was when a movie comes out that's bad. Like people will just shit on the character. Oh, nice. People just shit on the character. But I'm like, no, I remember Morbius as a kid. I remember like in the Spider-Man cartoon, my little spooky vampire-loving kid self, he loved Morbius, and that's why I was hyped for this movie and everything. But like, I knew like when I saw it starting to tank, I'm like, oh, people are gonna dunk on this character no matter what. Like at WonderCon, where it's around our area, recently happened, and they were doing raffling off of like comic books as they do with like spinning the wheel and everything at
Right.
booths. Yeah, there
Oh,
was
you
a
went?
stacks of. Huh?
You went?
Oh, yeah, no, I just saw it, but like there
Okay.
was a new, there was I saw it in stories and everything. There was like stacks of Morbius comics and like a Morbius figure next to other ones, but like if freaking there's like, oh man, they're gonna have a tough time raffling this off because like really no one wanted it, but that's all because of the movie.
I would
Like
want the
if it
Morbius
had if the
figure.
movie, like I still love the character. I mean, like one bad movie isn't gonna make me hate years of loving this character, kind of thing. Like his comics are still there. They're still scary and fun.
Hmm.
But like, your normal MCU audience and MCU stands will be like, oh, this character was in this thing that was bad. I no longer like this character.
Hmm.
Like that's like how people I don't know, that's why like I think movies like this, they take a risk when it comes to fandom because fandom, like I said, will hate things or love things. They'll never find a middle ground. Like either this is really good or this sucks.
Hmm.
It's like how the Hawkeye hate and everything before the series came out, where people are like, "Oh, Hawkeye is boring and useless and everything," and I'm like, it's just because this writing in the
It's
movie,
like
like read the
like the
book.
Hawkeye show was so good. A lot of people that I know were saying that I don't know if it's gonna be good because it's Hawkeye, but I just like, you may want to take that back.
It's like how like maybe 10 or so years ago, if the Loki series came out, no one would have cared. Like even if they didn't make Loki an actual character, because remember before the Thor movie came out and Tom Hiddleston, Loki was just kind of like a not low rent villain, but just kind of popped up here and there and everything. Like the MCU has a thing with like taking obscure characters that people don't care about and then like pushing them and making them big, like they did with Guardians and all that. And I think
Well, I wouldn't
it
say
works.
that about Loki. I mean,
Hmm.
the first Avengers issue, he was their first villain.
Yeah, but like I mean like media wise and everything. No one was like there was
Yeah,
like that's I mean there were like big Loki stan. There was never Loki fangirls way back when you and I
right.
were reading comics.
Well,
Like, no
kind
one
of
saw
also
Loki.
because back in the day they drew Loki to be ugly as hell.
Yeah, which in the goofy outfit, which they reference, like
Yeah.
they were the silly getup. But like MCU, either like sometimes it's make or break. They will either make people care about characters that no one did, or they'll do bad, like poor Morbius, and then people will just hate on them forever, Because
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to write on the like, because I love me a vampire horror, a cheesy vampire horror, but I just don't like that. I know people are just gonna dunk on this for no reason, kind of thing, Like, haha, bad movie.
Well, at least with Morbius, there's gonna be some representation at Comic-Con cosplay gatherings now because if you notice for the past few years, it's just Spider-Man
Yeah,
with
there's hardly
some
any.
Doc Ock or a Goblin and tons of Venom and Carnages. But I'll be one of the 5 people showing up as Morbius.
I will say, at least with Ock, I give it some leeway because making those tentacles probably is expensive and everything. But like you said, normally it's like 90%, just 99% just Spider Fam and everything.
Yeah,
Hardly
and
anyone
honestly,
does.
as much as I want to keep cosplaying Spider-Man, it's like, my puff paint work and stuff. I don't want to ruin my suits.
Yeah,
It's like, I worked so hard on it.
exactly. You don't
Shoot,
want to
it
like.
looks great. I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah. I remember, like, speaking of the villains, going into the like where Morbius stands in the future of where we're calling the villain verse. I'm wondering if Craven is now going to be like a flop or
Unfortunately,
not.
it's a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the thing is though, like, Craven is one of those characters that like he doesn't work as a solo story focused on him. Like, he's legitimately a villain in the sense of like we
The
need a
guy's
just he needs
trophy
something.
hunter. He's a poacher.
An animal abuse. It's kind of hard to make a guy
Exactly.
abuse animals. Like, oh yeah, and also he's a sensitive soul, punching a dog and everything. Like,
Right? Like, they're in the
this isn't
production of the
really
Craven
a
movie.
character. Like, Craven's not a character I can really sympathize with. Like,
Not at all. And Sony is in production of the movie right now. Like, there was a set photo of Aaron Taylor Johnson on set. Like, he's apparently like it was a car chase, and then he's like on the side of a car, all animalistic, like in an animalistic pose. I'm like,
no, but like it's.
I'm just like, what are they
It,
doing?
I hope you know what to save this movie. I just think, man, just go fucking wild. A little, go wild. That needs to be the poster. Go wild this summer with Craven, King of the Jungle.
Oh
They need to
no.
just go. They need to go nuts with this movie because, like, if Spider-Man isn't in it, because that's the other thing. As a character, I don't think I've read comics where they tried having Craven be like a solo. They're not interesting. You know what I mean? Like,
Nope,
without
not at all.
Spider-Man there, they're not. He's not. He's not. He doesn't have much depth to him. His thing is, I like hunting. I kill animals. There's not a lot of path and mythos with him. He kills animals. Kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like, that's his thing. Like, I don't know how we're gonna make that. I don't know. Like, just make him a total terrible character and just have
Mhm.
it be a fun, crazy ride. Like, maybe have him be the bad guy and like someone's trying, and it's a lot of focus on him, kind of thing. I could see
From
that.
from what I understand about this Craven movie coming out, he's the main character, and if people thought Morbius was a bad movie, this Craven movie is gonna be worse.
At least Morbius, I can say, is a silly time. At least there's no freaking ant. At least Morbius is nice to his bats. Freaking Craven would just be stabbing bats out of the sky and everything.
Like, to a degree,
Mm-hmm.
people sympathize for Eddie Brock and
Yeah,
Morbius.
yeah.
Like, one,
They're
Eddie Brock is a reporter. He compromises journalistic integrity. He's trying to get it back.
yeah.
Okay, redeeming quality.
He's
Uh,
also a nice guy. He's also deep down like Eddie's pretty nice if you look at him and everything.
Michael Morbius. He's a world-renowned doctor. He saves people and saves lives, but he's conflicted with vampirism. Okay, um, people could side with this character to this part. Craven.
Kills animals. He is gonna
That's
have
what
a
I'm
field.
saying. It's like this movie, because of the fact that there is no relatable quality to Craven as a person,
Mhm.
this movie is not gonna go well. Whoever is doing the writing, they're gonna force something in there,
They're gonna
and
force,
it, huh?
they're gonna force a message of don't judge a book by its cover. The man literally stabbed a kitten. Yeah, but he felt bad about it. You know, kind of thing.
Like, yeah, Craven, being a poacher and a trophy hunter, not gonna jive with most people at all.
Also, his like
But
reasoning, because if you go into like, oh, he also hunts people. I'm like, yeah, because he's insane. You know, kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
not
and
for any like evil, not
like,
for any like justice reason.
yeah, he's like, oh, I've gotten tired of hunting animals. I'm gonna hunt the ultimate animal, people.
Yeah, like there's scenes in the comic, of course, Spider-Man stops him because he's Spider-Man. Where like Craven hunts down like, oh, a world-renowned boxer, a beauty queen, because oh, there's something beautiful about them, and I'm gonna hunt them. You know, kind of thing.
Yeah,
He's,
and like,
he's
oh, since Vulture is now in the Venom verse, apparently, like, what was his reasoning? Oh, I'm stealing this Chitauri tech and stuff and selling it to people because to support my fam. So
he's a
redeeming
working Joe,
quality,
you know.
but bad reasoning.
Yeah,
But
but also like you can relate to Vulture on the sense of he's a working guy. You know, he's not up for world
yeah,
domination. It's just like I want a better life, you know, kind of thing.
yeah,
Like,
he was trying to put a job up, but then of course the Avengers, or at the time Damage Control or Hydra, took their job basically.
yeah, which everyone can relate. Anyone who's worked can relate to that. You know,
Mhm.
anyone who's like had a job can relate to being basically what is laid off without pay. You know,
Yeah, like
rich.
but
That's the other thing. Craven didn't hunt because he needed food or to like. He's rich. Like
yeah,
he's immensely wealthy.
the
He's just
Krevenov
poor.
family is
Yeah.
wealthy,
hmm And
so
he's just a bored person. Like I'm sure. Watch, they're gonna have a scene where he like breaks a dog's neck, and Aaron Taylor Johnson's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, before that scene, I said sorry to the dog and everything. Like, I really didn't want to hurt that dog."
oh, speaking of wealthy characters in comics, um,
Hmm.
Matt Smith, Hunger,
Yeah.
so tran they met as little kids, and then all of
hmm
a sudden, transition to years later, he's in the nice penthouse.
Yeah. Like
Like, where did
they
he get?
never
Oh,
answer that.
oh, wait. I think I just answered my question.
Hmm.
The doctor that's been caring for both uh Morbius and Hunger. Him. I think he had the financial benefactor.
I feel that's the thing. I feel because it's a thing in horror where like you know certain questions are answered with like subtle details and like really quick panning over. It's like, oh yeah, the guy that's taking care of them was rich. Years later, now they have the money. There,
Okay.
easy answer.
Hmm.
Like
Oh, that's
just because
another character that I think that
it's
his scenes got cut as well.
the doctor and everything that took care of them.
Yeah, because of in the trailer, it looks like he's talking to Michael Morbius, like asking like, "Are you able to control it?" And Leto says, "I
Hmm.
don't know."
Yeah, like that's the thing is so much was like we've been over. Like so much did get cut from this movie that either answered questions or added to the movie's experience and everything. But like I don't know. I think for a little bit we're just gonna have to deal with the fact that a lot gets cut out and like obviously there's the memes. And
Mhm.
somehow I don't know how the Morbius memes took over the Will Smith memes. Now I see zero amounts of the slap, and I just see the quote unquote the theaters are empty at Morbius and everything. Like
Oh, how many people were in your theater when you watched it?
I'm not gonna lie, like maybe 10. Like it was not. It was in a packed house. I mean, it was a decent amount. You know, it's not like it was. It's not like it was a ghost town. You know.
Yeah, like some people I see that it's like, oh, it's only one other person in here with me.
Yeah.
But when I watched it last Sunday, um, it was me, my friend, and I counted there was about 12 other people. So 15. I think I missed a couple in the back probably, so maybe like 17 tops total.
Yeah. It's a decent amount of people. You know, not. It's obviously not doing Avengers. Now. I remember that there was lines outside to still get in and everything. But I don't know. I remember there were people posting like stories of like, oh man, everyone walked out of Morbius, and I'm like, is it that bad? Like, and I
Yeah,
didn't see anyone walk out when
no
I
one
was
in
there.
my
Probably,
theater walked out.
I don't know, anytime a bad movie comes out, for years and years, feels like it was so bad, people walked out of the movie, and I'm like, did they? Did they really? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. People will make up stories about like the quote unquote worst movies ever made, about like some people were storming the theater just to get out. I'm like, all right, nice sensational story. That probably didn't happen.
Yeah,
Like, probably didn't have, that's not how that went. Like, people said that about The Room when it was released. They're like, people wanted to get out so bad. And like in reality, it's like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, I don't know, people are more polite in reality. People are probably just like, oh, this kind of blows, like, that's
yeah.
it.
Well,
Yeah,
we're going a bit
bad.
close to an hour here. Jono, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for asking me.
I'll be sure to add your Instagram and social media onto the description there. So whoever wants to follow you and check out your cosplay work as well as your artwork, they can do so as well. I'll add mine as well for the people who want to
Any,
follow. Be sure to like
any
and
last
subscribe,
words?
everybody. This is MViousCosplay. This is Comic Talk, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Stay spooky.